Good morning, everybody. I'm taking a note out of the Dwayne playbook, and I want to try to start a new series for my little small YouTube channel called Sunday Talks with Vinny. So this will be episode 1. And you see I have a pipe with me. Both the pipe and the tobacco were purchased from the same company, DannyBoyPipes.com, and today's blend is called Night Watch. My first time trying it, by the way. But today's topic is going to be on parenting. I want to preface a couple of things first. A, I'm a God-fearing man. And B, I'm a flawed God-fearing man. Those are two truths. There is such thing as a God-fearing man, and there is such thing as a flawed man, and there is such thing as just a flawed man who is God-fearing, but there is no such thing as a God-fearing man who is not flawed. That does not exist. So we'll preface our lecture series with that, because I think it's important to recognize that the most flawed among us are usually God-fearing, and the reason being is we're flawed, and we need something bigger than ourselves to lift us up. But I think I want to talk about the concept of parenting today, because birth rates are declining in the U.S. For a litany of reasons, and it can be a little scary to watch a population decline. That parenting is hard. Kids are hard. Paying bills is hard. Taxes is hard. It all sucks. Now, this is not so much a video lecture monologue on how to raise a child. That's not my goal here. And for whoever's watching, you're probably twice my age and have 10 times the experience. I think what I'd rather do is give you a little bit more of words of encouragement today. Sorry, this tobacco is quite fresh and a little wet. But my son Silas was born just 3 months ago, and it has been a wild ride. And I've, for years, considered myself the most unqualified candidate to be a father. By the grace of God, things have gotten better between us, but in the early days, me and my father had quite the rocky relationship. And I'm not going to divulge the details via social media because I don't think that's quite appropriate, but things have finally gotten better, and it was a 10-year process, really. But I had a very skewed idea of what family is and what family should be. And I considered it best if I had just died alone. And then fast forward to the year 2016, and fell in love with a girl. And fast forward another few years, we got married, and then a few more years, and we had a kid. I'm not going to tell you how that happened. But even my first few months of marriage, I hated it. And not because she's a bad woman, she's a marvelous woman, but I just don't deal with change well. And maybe you are somebody who also doesn't deal with change well. So, you're not alone. And having a kid was no different. And I'm a bit ashamed to admit this, but I think it's really important to talk about. But the first couple months of being a father, I absolutely hated it. And the only reason being is it was change. And it was a big change, and it was permanent change. But then again, in life, the only thing that is permanent is change. And I really struggled. And I was really stressed and really angry and just a whole salad bowl full of negative emotions. And I'm just now finally starting to settle in at 3.5 months. And I do love my son, mind you, and I would die for him, and I would do unspeakable things for him. And I think that is the only rational response to have when it comes to children. But I was and still is one of the most changed, adverse people that I know. And I want to share that information with you because I want to give you words of encouragement that I don't consider myself a qualified person to be a parent. I am terrible with change. I don't do well with big life decisions. But I am 3 months into being a father, and he is still alive and well, and so am I. And you might be in a situation where you might be a young father, and you might be horribly confused, horribly worried, feeling incredibly alone. And I want to give you some encouragement that you are not alone. And you too will make it. Work your job, make your money, pay your bills, love your child. It's all entirely possible. It is something you can do, and you will make it. We are fortunate enough to live in a weird age in society where even poor people are overweight. People can make it, and so can you. And just so long as you love that child and teach them some valuable principles and you're actually there for them, there's a very strong statistical probability that they'll turn out okay. Perfect is the enemy of good. You don't need to be a perfect parent. You need to be a good parent. Love that child. Give them rewards when necessary. Give them punishment when necessary. But in all things, love them. And there's a very strong probability they will turn out okay. And just so long as you strive to continue to work, pay your bills, make your money, keep your shit together, and learn how to manage things, there's a very good statistical probability that you will be okay as well. And that's not just words of encouragement, that's numbers. And yes, sure, I don't have folders with me right now. I don't have documents with me right now. I don't have peer-reviewed essays with me right now. But understand that purely through observation and purely through common sense, if you put your nose to the grindstone, you work your job, pay your bills, love your child, you will make it, one way or another. And the biggest thing is consistency and determination. So for the 5 or 10 people who've made it this far, I really appreciate you and thank you so much. And shout out to, his pen name is Maximus. I really appreciate that comment you left on my video the other day. And it has inspired me to want to keep making these videos. And I think I'm going to make a series out of it, Sunday Talks with Vinny. And for those who do watch, leave a comment on what you want to hear me talk about, because I love to have those conversations. And if you are a traveling person or live near South Carolina, my garage is always open. So this is the deep South. We just invite strangers in all the time. It's normal down here. I'm hoping that maybe I've given you some encouragement, and until we meet again, stay gold.